Almost as a ghost from history, the USS Pueblo is back in the public eye. North Korea captured the U.S. Navy vessel and its crew in 1968, claiming the ship was in its territorial waters. The U.S. said it was in international waters. The Pueblo is still in North Korea, and CNN is the first U.S. network to visit the vessel. CNN's Mike Chinoy went aboard in Wonsan, where the ship is anchored.
The Pueblo, the U.S. Navy ship whose capture by North Korea 27 years ago brought this country and the United States to the brink of armed conflict. The Pueblo was seized in January 1968 off the coast of the North Korean port of Wonsan. The North Koreans accused the ship of spying and held its crew here for 11 months. Only after crew members signed confessions and the U.S. government issued an apology were the men released. The ship itself, however, was confiscated. Since then, the Pueblo has remained anchored at Wonsan, becoming something of a shrine for North Korea's militant anti-Americanism. This week, I became the first American journalist allowed to visit the Pueblo. The ship is under the control of the North Korean Navy. It is perfectly preserved, from the cabin of its commander to the vessel's communication room, the nerve center of what the North Koreans say was its spy mission, to the bullet holes sustained when the North Koreans attacked and seized the ship, killing one crew member.
Down with the U.S. imperialists, the sworn enemy of the Korean people.
Visitors are also shown a video describing the U.S. as the most vicious enemy of the peoples of the whole world, and showing clips from the confessions of the crew.
If it was possible to get close enough to any activity, it was to be photographed.
But after years of keeping the Pueblo hidden from the rest of the world, North Korea has now begun showing it off. Not just to reporters, but to tourists, part of this country's attempt to open, at least slightly, its long-closed doors. That hasn't, however, diluted the ship's political symbolism.
Through the visits of tourists and civilians from the United States, we would like to show the espionage acts committed by the U.S. imperialists and tell them to transmit the message that if the U.S. imperialists attack again, there will be strong retaliation.
The tiny handful of tourists being allowed to see the ship, including now a very few Americans, are probably not going to transmit such a message, but they do represent a start towards overcoming years of hostility.
I would like to see the relationship between Korea and the United States improve, have diplomatic relations.
The Pueblo has entered North Korean mythology as a great victory over what the propaganda film shown to visitors here calls the U.S. imperialist war maniacs. The rhetoric and posturing from North Korea can still be harsh at times, but the fact that Americans are being welcomed back on this ship as visitors, where they were once prisoners, is a sign of how things are changing in North Korea's often volatile relationship with the United States. Mike Chinoy, CNN, on board the Pueblo in Wonsan, North Korea.